Premchand Roychand Jain was born in 1832 in a Porwal Jain family. He was the son of Roychand Deepchandji Jain, who was a businessman and a timber dealer from Surat, Gujarat. It was at the age of 18 that Premchand entered the stockbroking business. And since he was educated, he was the first Indian stockbroker who was fluent in speaking, reading, and writing the English language. This gave him an edge over the other stockbrokers as he could deal with European and British people. Premchand went on to establish a monopoly in the brokering of bank shares, and it is estimated that by the end of 1850s, he had become one of the richest men in Bombay. And this was the story of how a middle-class Jain went on to become the founder of the Bombay Stock Exchange, or BSE as we know it today. Premchand Roychand Jain is not an exception, and several people from the Jain community have gone on to be prosperous businessmen for centuries, with several notable people in our own time as well, including Dilip Shanghvi, founder of Sun Pharma, India's largest pharmaceutical company, Rajesh Mehta, founder of Rajesh Export, India's largest gold company, and Gautam Adani, who needs no introduction. In fact, the list is so long that I could not include all the names in this video. Although Jains are just 0.4% of India's population, they contribute 24% to the country's total income tax collection. Jains collectively own more than 28% of Indian property, contributing 25% to India's total GDP growth. And it seems like they dominate across industries, because 46% of India's stockbrokers are Jains, 50% of the Indian diamond industry is contributed to by Jains, and Jains also own 20% of the Indian textile industry. And while we often hear people say that education has little to no relevance when it comes to being a good businessman, the literacy rate in Jains is at 94.1%, way above the national average of 65.38%. And it is even more impressive when it comes to the female literacy rate, where Jains stand at 90.6% compared to the national average of 54.16%. So what is it in the Jain culture and DNA that makes them excel at creating wealth? Are there any cultural differences, or is it just a coincidence? And what is it that we can learn from them to move towards our goals with a similar temperament? We are going to answer all of these questions in this video today. So let's begin. To understand how the Jain community evolved, we have to travel back 2500 years. In India, like in all other ancient communities, farming was one of the most prominent occupations. Now, one of the most important pillars of Jainism is Ahimsa, or non-violence. And according to Jainism, farming involves the destruction of plants as well as living beings in the soil itself. So if you were a Jain, you could not practice farming or agriculture. As a result, Jains were left with only one option: trading and commerce. And as Jainism continued to grow, more and more Jains started giving up agriculture and taking up trading and commerce. And as the decades and centuries passed, many Jains became really good at what they did. In fact, Jains were among the first to establish trade relations with foreign lands, developing trade routes with China, Arabia, and perhaps even Rome in Europe. And as Jains continued to do business generation after generation, doing business became a way of life for them. This generations of business gyan that is being passed over from one generation to another can simply not be matched. What we read in books like Rich Dad Poor Dad is general knowledge to most of the Jains, at least the ones that are belonging from a business household. It's like their whole childhood is a business lesson, where they pick up learnings from daily household conversations. The other practice that Jains follow, which has inadvertently helped them with compounding, and this is something that they are very well known for, is Jain vegetarianism. Continuing the principle of Ahimsa, Jainism strictly prohibits the consumption of non-vegetarian food and liquor. And in the same spirit of non-violence, to prevent plants from getting uprooted and killed, they also exclude vegetables such as onions, garlic, and potatoes from their diets. This sattvic diet plays an extremely important role in increasing their longevity. And this is backed by data. The last census showed that Jains have the highest percentage of members in the above 70 age group. Time is the greatest weapon when it comes to compounding, and being alive for a longer period gives you more time to grow your business. For example, Warren Buffett, the ace investor and one of the richest people in the world, built 99% of his wealth after the age of 50. And this is how following the principle of Ahimsa has helped Jains outlive others, giving them more time to build their business before it is passed on to the next generation. But earning money and what you do with the money that you earn are two entirely different things. Literally thousands of books have been written on the art of managing money and controlling your spending to accumulate wealth. And this is where one other important pillar of Jainism called Aparigraha has played a huge role. Aparigraha means the virtue of non-possessiveness, non-attachment or non-greediness. It basically teaches you that material possessions are a part of our lives and it is okay to have them, but they should never be the center of our lives. It's about acknowledging that the cars and phones and houses that we own or have a desire to own will never truly belong to us and are only with us temporarily. Aparigraha promotes a minimalist lifestyle, like cleaning out your closet and keeping only the clothes you need, reducing waste and being satisfied with less. So while exceptions are always there, it is highly unlikely that you will meet a Jain who indulges in extravagant displays of wealth. And with all this money coming in and no place where it is being wasted, it has eventually led to a culture of saving and investing, where the money itself compounds and contributes to the generation of even more wealth. Think of it as a greenhouse effect of money, where money can come in as much as one wants, but it cannot escape. Coming back to business, an extension of these principles are the vows that Jains take, two of which are Satya and Asteya. Satya means truthfulness and Asteya means non-stealing. And there is more to these principles than these basic definitions. Satya isn't just about not lying. It is about being truthful and honest in your thoughts, words and actions. And similarly, Asteya isn't about not stealing physical items, but it also implies that you cannot take something that is freely given to you. If a customer forgets his wallet on your counter, Asteya advocates you have to safeguard it until the customer comes back rather than taking money from it. And when you uphold these values of Satya and Asteya, you create a business that people respect and trust. And trust is the key to the longevity of any successful business. A person is much more likely to loan money to or give his business to a Jain than any other community, simply because they are usually honest and true to their words. But obviously, exceptions are always there. And this actually works well, particularly within the Jain community, where they trust and help each other a lot. So in ancient societies, the temple used to be the epicenter of urban life, where all the major activities were conducted. The main temple in a settlement used to be the religious hub, where people came to offer prayers. It was the administrative center, as political and religious powers were, heavily intertwined, and it was also the economic hub, owning land, employing workers, and collecting taxes. It also served as the social center, where people came together and socialized, and celebrated and helped each other out. And Jainism has managed to retain a lot of these aspects to date, as the Jain community is an extremely close-knit one. Jain mandirs continue to serve as the religious and social hub of the community. And since Jains are ardent followers of their religion, most of them visit these temples a lot. This has resulted in Jains of a particular area knowing each other and forming a strong and powerful community that is always helping and looking out for each other. When I was doing research for this video, I read that Jains could actually get interest-free loans for business and education from their closest communities. I mean, I could actually not believe this, as this sounded too good to be true. But then I went around and asked a few of my Jain friends, and turns out it actually is true. There are several Jain societies where you can get a loan if you want to start a new business with no interest, no collateral, and not even a hard deadline to pay it back either. Not only this, but many Jains also help each other out in other economic and social aspects. They prefer doing business with each other before going to someone outside their communities, and this creates a feedback loop. Rich Jains prefer hiring and partnering with other Jains, making more rich Jains, who again prefer hiring and partnering with other Jains, and the loop continues. So you can think of Jain temples being better than golf clubs. It is the perfect place for networking with a well-established community where everyone knows and trusts each other, and you get spiritual enlightenment as well. I mean, how amazing is that? And the loans that I'm talking about are available for only one other purpose than starting a business: education. Because education is highly valued within the Jain community. And this is not something that has been taken up recently either. Even in the ancient and medieval periods, Jains used to have Jain Gachas or centers of learning. These were located in temples and promoted the principles of Jainism along with a strong emphasis on education. And the practice of giving interest-free loans for education in the Jain community is not new either. So during the medieval and early modern periods, Jain merchants were known for their patronage of educational institutions and the promotion of literature. Now, it is impressive to see here that Jains have realized that while education and literacy may or may not directly help you to be a better businessman, it certainly offers a broader perspective and innovative ideas. Recall here that Premchand Roychand Jain was able to rise among his peers in the stockbroking game, particularly because he was educated and he could speak English, something no other broker was able to do at his time. And this is how the prosperity and success of most Jains, if not all, as a community is not a coincidence, but a historically acquired acumen of principles and practices. Personally, it is fascinating for me how a set of principles that actually teach you to rise above money and the materialistic possessions of this world have actually led to the accumulation of that same wealth and materialistic possessions instead. Maybe Rancho was right when he said,
सक्सेस के पीछे मत भागो, एक्सेलेंस का पीछा करो, सक्सेस झक मार के तुम्हारे पीछे आएगी.
So what can we learn from their success? Well, firstly, it is the power of principles. Whether you look at it from a religious or spiritual angle or not, the principles of honesty, non-violence, non-greediness and frugality can certainly take you a long way. Secondly, it is the power of community. Jains have been networking for centuries before the startup ecosystem made it mainstream. Being around people who are where you aim to be, people who genuinely want to help you and whom you can trust, can give you a shortcut in your journey towards success. And lastly, the power of a healthy lifestyle. As I already said earlier, data backs that living a healthy lifestyle that is free of liquor, non-vegetarian food, and bad habits like smoking or overeating can prolong your life by several years. And not only does this increase the number of years that you live, but it also enhances the quality of life. Where a smoker will probably live the last 5 to 10 years of his life battling cancer or cardiovascular disorders, someone with a healthy lifestyle is likely to have a much more happier and healthier old age in store for them. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think about these facts and statistics about Jains in the comments below. Do hit the like and subscribe buttons to make sure this video reaches more viewers like you. And let me know in the comments which story you want me to cover next. Until then, goodbye.